I found out what my daughter was doing, and it broke me. When my daughter Emma turned 10, I started noticing something strange. She began asking for more food in her lunch. Extra sandwiches, snacks, juice boxes, and every day she came home with an empty lunchbox. I figured she was just hitting a growth spurt. Kids eat a lot at that age, right? But the weird thing was, when she got home from school, she'd run straight to the kitchen like she hadn't eaten anything all day. At first, I thought maybe the food wasn't enough, so I packed her even more the next morning. 2 sandwiches, an apple, some chips, and 2 juice boxes. Same thing. She came home starving. Then one day I was washing her lunchbox, and I noticed something odd. One of the sandwiches looked like it had been repacked. The wrapping was crumpled, but the bread wasn't even bitten. I couldn't understand why she'd waste it. I didn't say anything, but something about it didn't sit right. A week later, I decided to quietly ask her teacher if everything was okay at school. If maybe she wasn't eating because of the cafeteria rules or something. The teacher said she was fine, but mentioned that Emma had made a new friend, a quiet boy named Caleb who often came to school without lunch. The teacher said Emma always sat with him. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. The next morning, before she went to school, I put a small smiley face sticker on one of her juice boxes. When she came home that day, I checked her lunchbox again. The juice box with the sticker was still there. The other one, gone. A few days later, it was Emma's birthday. We planned a small party at our house, just some classmates, pizza, cake, and balloons. Parents dropped off their kids, one by one, all carrying wrapped gifts. Then, near the end, the doorbell rang again. I opened the door to see a thin boy, maybe 11 or 12, standing there alone. His clothes were faded and a bit too small. He had a shy smile and a tiny card folded in half. "Hi," he said. "I'm Caleb." I asked where his parents were, and he said they couldn't drive him, that he walked. I asked how far, and he just said, "Not too bad." But later, I'd find out it wasn't not too bad at all. When he saw the table full of snacks and drinks, his eyes widened. He looked around like he wasn't sure if he was allowed to touch anything. I handed him a slice of pizza, and he smiled. One of those smiles that just stops your heart. Then he ate another, and another. He didn't even realize I was watching him the whole time. The kids played for hours. They laughed, they ran, they took turns hitting the piñata. For once, Caleb looked like any other kid. But when the party was over and parents came to pick up their kids, Caleb just stood by the door, holding his little card. I asked if he needed a ride home, and he quickly said no, he could walk. But it was getting dark, and I insisted. Before we left, I went to grab my keys, and that's when I saw Emma in the pantry. She didn't see me. She was quietly filling a plastic grocery bag with snacks, a few juice boxes, and even one of her brother's sweatshirts that didn't fit him anymore. She turned and whispered to Caleb, "Here, for later. Don't tell my dad." I froze. I didn't know whether to cry or smile. When I drove Caleb home, the road just kept going. Streetlights disappeared, and we passed an old park, then a line of run-down houses with broken fences. Finally, he pointed to a small building at the edge of town, a cracked driveway, peeling paint, one flickering porch light. He looked at me and said softly, "Thanks for the ride, and for always packing extra food for Emma." He didn't know I'd just found out. He got out, waved, and ran inside. I sat there in the car, staring at the empty seat next to me, feeling my chest tighten. I never told Emma I knew. The next morning, I just packed her lunch like always. 2 sandwiches, 2 juice boxes, 2 granola bars. She smiled and said, "Thanks, Dad." Now, every single morning, I make sure there's enough for both of them. Even if she never tells me, I know exactly who the second lunch is for.